the clacker. Roger. Clacker whacked.
I feel like that one was as good as my normal.
Hey, I left them in last time.
You did. I appreciate it. They still have a weird trail on them.
It's your clacker.
I know.
I don't know.
Probably should just do the old clappy, clap.
Something like that.
But
Well, welcome back to the regular Dad podcast. That's the right one, right?
That's where we're at.
We're doing that one?
That's where we're at.
It's been a lot.
Yep.
So I think, Jimmy, today it's about 10 a.m. right now. We were supposed to start today at 8:30.
That's correct.
And thing after thing kept getting in front of me. I don't know about you, but you, even when I told you that I was on my way, when I was supposed to be here, you're like, I'm moving slow too. So I don't,
I mean, I'm wearing slippers with socks right now.
I thought that was just the Utah thing. I didn't know.
I'm kind of in a mood of,
Yep. So, yeah. So, since we filmed last time, so I'd had one surgery. Didn't we?
You'd had the second surgery when we filmed with Bill.
That was before.
Was that before?
It was scheduled.
Oh.
Yeah. So I'd had one.
Because I just edited that last episode.
Yeah. So I had one, and they were only able to do partial, and so they did the second one, and that's it's Monday. So this Wednesday will be 3 weeks ago, and they were able to get all into the sinuses behind my eyeballs, everything. I mean, everything between here and the brain, which there's more room there than there are most, but they had, but.
Isn't that like the frontal lobe? Isn't the frontal lobe like what controls like the higher functions? Is that right?
If it is, that explains a lot.
Right?
Yeah. So no comments from my wife, please. So they were able to get in there and do that. I still don't sound great, but this is surgery-based swelling and not...
You sound better than you have.
Yeah, and thank you.
You're welcome.
And not sinus infection-based awfulness. But
can you smell yet?
Yes. Yeah. The fact that I can smell this coffee right now, and I'll tell you, so this till
because I didn't know that until I just edited that latest video and you talked about that. For some reason, I guess I was not paying attention or something.
So I didn't say a lot about it. It's hard. I'm a very smell driven person. I like to cook on the weekends.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things is I like to come home and smell my home. I like this. I like my
so you like your house to smell nice?
Yeah, I do. Now, so Dina sprays perfume on before she leaves, right?
Yeah.
But it's an oil based perfume. I mean, it's stout, so she does a little mist, but it will, because it kind of get a little on the counter, a little here, whatever, because it's a mist,
Right.
But you can smell it for the majority of the rest of the day.
Nice.
And so I'll come home, and I'll walk in, go to my bathroom, and I can smell, that. And I'm like, I like that. But I do, it's...
What do they say? Don't they say smell is like the most, like memories are tied?
Yes, yeah.
Like
they're
more tightly to smell?
Yep.
Something like that?
Yep. And so I've really missed a lot of that. Of course, it also messed with taste,
Right.
Not that I couldn't do with, some reduction
Will you
in the
stop?
tasting. Well, I'm just
Every
saying,
single time.
well, I'm not wrong. So, but
I mean, haven't you lost a ton?
Yeah, we're at 40 some odd now.
Dude.
But that's over a long time.
Celebrate the flip and win, man.
Well, it's like a year and a half.
It's better than me.
So, yeah, you don't.
I've gained.
We sat by
You're
side.
losing and I've gained.
Well, we sat side by side in the cockpit of a plane, and all I'm saying is I'm glad we stopped because my leg was all against the brakes, and you hit him, and I'm like, ooh, that hurts.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, I was like, just pull the leg out of there and ram it into the dash.
Did you have your toe up behind the brake pedal or something? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's all good. But I yanked my leg back out of there, smashed it into the dash, and I'm like, well, we have to, it's either going to hurt or we're dying.
Oh, sorry.
So, yeah. So,
I had no idea.
Well, I wasn't going to tell you because I wanted to get to sit back there on the way home. So anyway. So,
well, it's not a big cockpit, so.
No, it's not. It's not. But
it's like just this side of a Beach Baron size.
Yeah, and so two of you it would work, but Anyway, so
Well,
social media profiles. We do want to give a shout out to James Benefield.
Yes.
He all things car detailing. He actually does ceramic coating now as well, and power washing. Now I don't know how much power washing he does because that was kind of a time filler back, but he is so busy with the auto detailing.
Yeah, he's usually like, it's
golly.
hard for me to get on his schedule because my schedule is so dynamic.
Right.
He's like, I mean, it typically is like, hey, the cars are outside.
Yep.
Because I'm out of town.
What day are you coming? This day or that day, and I'll leave the keys in it.
Yeah.
So when we're out of town, I'll try to get him out or something. But anyway, but you can check him out, especially if you want to do, get your car detailed. And he has a really cool old 1 ton now. That he has. It's a 67.
I've never actually seen that in person.
Oh, he had it at my house.
Oh, he did
a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
Does he tow the trailer with it sometimes?
No, but he just cruises around with it, kind of a little marketing piece, and it is really cool. But anyway, check out james.benefield.94 on Instagram.
He's great. Does all of our cars.
Yep. Benefield's Mobile Auto Spa and Power Washing. That's on Facebook. He probably has TikTok, but I didn't look that up. So sorry, James. But yeah, so he takes
highly recommended.
I think I introduced him to you.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
He takes care of Mom and Bill's cars. And I think he was doing Dad's when he was still alive too.
I mean, he did I just sold my Tacoma. And he did a really good job prepping that for sale. Yeah. It was like, he's like, I'm gonna make this thing look brand new. I'm like,
we'll see.
It's already sold, but man, maybe I shouldn't have.
Yeah, but then you feel good about it.
It's
right?
true. It went away to.
I sell a car, and it's like we find so my buddy Jody, has a bank, and he will, if you're in the inner circle, he'll let you sell stuff out there.
Right.
And he was handling everything for me, and he told me about the people. He's like, all right, well, the car was sold, but I was like, well, it needs a front bearing and wheel bearing, and I'm going to do that. And then we want to fill it up with gas, and it's just that's just.
I think that's the right way to do things.
Yeah. So, all right. So anyway, we are doing things a little bit differently in that I have no idea what we're talking about. You sent me a list of topics and said we're going to do this.
Well, I sent a suggestion. Well, no, you said we're going to do this.
Yes, I said yes. Let's do it. Okay, yeah, but that's as far. I didn't put together an outline. I didn't nothing. So, tell us what we're talking about.
Yeah. So we're starting a 4-part series.
Yeah,
on letting go.
And this will be very conversational in the fact that we're working this out literally on the fly.
This is me on a journey for sure.
Yeah.
So So today we're talking about letting go of stuff.
I already don't like that because while I don't like clutter, I like to have a lot of stuff just organized.
Yeah, and it's like, I think there's it's almost like a adult security blanket.
Yes.
I mean, you and I think probably have the same mentality. It's like, well, I might use that someday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I have room for it. I might use it someday.
My dad was like that, and right now, unless there's some type of value to it, I have like a 6-month and a 12-month.
So you're that intentional about it.
If it's in my way.
Yeah. Okay.
And it only goes to the attic if there is some type of value. If I'm just because I don't want to deal with it, it doesn't go to the attic. It goes to the trash.
Okay. Yep.
Well, and because this is why, may he rest in peace. My dad left me with a mountain of that I had to.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah. So and here was the thing. So he passed away, and it took months, but we cleaned out the garage right away. I did that, most of it.
Yeah.
And had a few people come over and say, hey, they're Dad's friends, get any tools that you want and whatnot. And then we threw away a bunch of trash, had a roll-off dumpster come in. We did that at his office.
Dude, there is nothing more therapeutic than a roll-off dumpster in your driveway.
Like I'm saying,
when we moved into this place and we were doing all the remodeling out here in the shop, and we had that dumpster out there. Dude, it was so therapeutic.
It's nice
to just throw it in there, man. It's like,
so dad had 3 storage units, different places. One was kind of climate controlled, and he kept some of his office records there and whatnot. Had to deal with those 2.
Probably all paper too.
Yeah. And so we calculated the storage just on the 2 primaries that we had and how long we had them, which was over 20 years.
Yeah.
Okay. And so basically in storage fees that were paid, we were over $40,000. And if we would have sold everything that was in there, every last little thing, we could have netted $2,500, $3,000, because it was old. It was old when it went in there, but Dad didn't want to part with it.
That's such a good perspective. Yeah.
And so here we could have had a memorable family trip to wherever, all expenses paid, and some spam call coming in right now. And we could have gone to Europe for 40 large.
Yeah. In first class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, we didn't have that. What we had was the memory of me and a guy that has one of the dump trailers. He does some construction cleanup.
Yeah.
Actually, he just passed away too. That sucks. People dropping like flies.
Tell you what, man.
But he pulled up outside the storage building, and we just started flinging.
Yeah, that's where I think I got to that point when we moved into this place.
Yeah,
because we moved in and it was fully furnished,
and I'd see something that was like a childhood memory, but it's half rotted, and then I'm all like weeping and crying. I forgot to tell him that it was Dad's storage unit, so he just thought I was like, I don't know. He didn't know. He didn't understand the assignment.
Poor guy.
No, and then but he knew me, well, but I was like, man, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. This is all Dad stuff. He's like, oh, okay. Yeah, and so it's like an entirely different perspective, So he's like, ooh.
Yeah.
He's like, what's wrong with this guy? Oh, sorry, buddy.
Yeah.
So he's like, what? I'll bring you anything that looks like it might be valuable. Just go sit in the truck for a minute. So. But anyway, that was a huge task, and that was a heartache. So I'm not going to do that to my kids. That's why if I have to buy it again, I have to buy it again.
So that's a calculation. That's another calculation I make. It's like if we just need this, we can buy it again.
Yeah.
And we'll get into this in a later episode in this series. But like if it's that season is out, and then we come back, and then we can't buy it again because maybe we can't afford it or whatever.
Yep.
We'll deal with it then.
Yeah.
I think that stuff can be a part of our identity.
Yeah.
So a couple of things. One is we're in the shop right now. This shop was built for the business that I tried to start.
I love this shop. Hey, man, your air compressor's on.
Just sit here and wait for the air compressor. It's one of those ultra quiet compressors.
It is. I'm actually there. It is.
Okay.
We should be able to finish this episode before it cycles again.
Yeah, we should.
So, yeah.
All right. Okay. So that's hilarious. So I'm out in the shop right now, and this is where I had my woodworking business, and all the major tools are still here, but I had a backstock of product that I made, because there were coasters and trays.
They're so cool too.
And they were in various states of assembly. And I had
a manufacturing process is.
And I had it all stored in here, and it was like one day I just came in and I felt like the spirit was just like, it's time to let it go.
Let it go.
Because we shut the business down 2 years ago?
Yeah.
It's been 2 and so I just started throwing stuff in the trash.
Mm-hmm.
And it felt so good to just let it go. Like the shelves that are empty right here that have nothing on them that's associated with the business anymore. There's a workbench in the shop that's had everything laid out on it. That's all gone. And the hard part about that is that my identity was tied up in that company.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. And so it's like, you say, well, what if there's something doesn't have value? Value is a hard thing to judge sometimes.
Yes.
Because if you put on the wrong goggles, if you put on the wrong glasses, and those glasses are that stuff is part of your identity, then it's always going to have value.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And that's where we really, to be honest, there's probably some tokens of the past and memories that are part of our identity that's like, we're going to keep that. It's a keepsake. We're going to keep that around. But I think that's the exception.
Yeah. So there's plenty of exceptions. Yeah. So there's not this, I'm not, some type of Machiavellian,
just get rid of it.
Yeah, no. So,
but I think it's rare that we're holding on to stuff. I think it's rare that it's healthy for us to hold on to stuff.
Yeah.
That's not like actively being used, or you know what I'm saying? Like, stuff needs to be temporary. It is temporary, and we need to accept that it's temporary.
My dad had an old snapper lawnmower that didn't work that he kept for parts for his new snapper lawnmower. And then that new snapper lawnmower, the engine blew up in it, which was my fault, but that's another story. And he no longer had that one anymore, and he still kept the other one for parts because maybe someone he knew might need it.
Right.
But it's 20 years old. And this was when I was in high school. He got it when I was like right around the time that I was born. No, I was not 20 in high school. We're just using broad numbers. Something like me.
Yeah.
Shut up. So anyway, but at that point it was like, well, he'd had it for so long.
Right.
Like, finally, when we moved from that house, he was like, well, I guess I can let it go now. You think?
Yeah.
Not that he could have let it go any sooner and it would have he could have sold it or anything. No, just get it in the trash and get it out of there.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
We look like Sanford and Son, except like Sanford was no longer with us. It's what it looked like.
Yeah. I feel like, and I feel like this is an issue primarily with Americans, to be honest. From what I've read, you look at
we like our crap.
For one thing, we live in much more spread out, like generally speaking. Like in Japan, they don't have room for all the people, so they put them in. They're living in smaller spaces. It seems like it's that way in Europe a lot, probably more due to the expensive property. Things are more efficient. One of the things I love is going to IKEA. I'm not a big fan of the styling, but just the innovation of like making a space do all kinds of different things.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is your bookshelf and your bed. It's like, that's really cool.
I've never been to an IKEA store. I've looked online for stuff before.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. They trap you in there. That's a whole discussion for another.
Yeah, they do. I've seen about that.
It's like a black hole.
I don't do well with that. If I want to go back upstream, you tell me that I can't. Okay, you can just take your meatballs and put them where the sun don't shine because I'm going out. All right.
This has been Ben's review of IKEA.
I love you people. Don't tell me where I can and can't go. Born and raised Texan, get out of my way. Okay? I love you, and I will follow the rules, but don't trap me with your rules.
This is probably why we don't have IKEA in East Texas. Anyways.
By God. No. So,
but yeah, just, I don't know.
So please throw away your crap, other dads that are listening to this. No one wants your 20-year-old three-wheeled lawnmower that should have four wheels.
Stuff breaks down. Like, it just breaks down while it sits. Like, I have thinned the herd a little bit.
Yeah.
But I've got a fleet of radio control airplanes in the back of the shop.
Yeah.
And we carried that fleet from Salt Lake. There was an entire U-Haul trailer that was just dedicated to the RC airplanes. Like, I built a whole temporary rack system in there, and they all came with us. And I did not fly RC since I've been to Texas. I haven't flown RC the way I was flying in Salt Lake.
Yeah.
And I flew a little bit out in front of the old house. This house, we don't have any room here to fly.
No.
And I'm still in process of evaluating, and you and I have talked about this. Like, I love that hobby. And in fact, I probably have more fun flying models than I do flying the real ones.
Right.
But
you do a lot of that.
At some point, there's just, like, they have, like, the fuel lines start rotting, the batteries.
Yeah, gas sits in the plastic. It eventually
it just
gums up carburetors.
It's like, it's time to just get rid of it. And if you want to get back into it, that's the thought. That's the equation, is like, well, maybe it's time to just get rid of it. And then if I want to get back into that hobby, because men especially, let's just admit it.
Yeah.
We go into a hobby. Most of us go pretty hard in that hobby.
Yeah.
And then it just sits. Mm-hmm. It's like, I'm into dirt bikes now. You buy all your boys dirt bikes, you get a trailer, you're going out to the, whatever off-road park, and you're riding dirt bikes, and then 3 years later, all of a sudden, there's like 3 or 4 dirt bikes sitting in the back of the garage, stacks of parts, new engines, pistons, everything you need, and it's all just sitting there rotting.
Yep.
Like,
yeah,
we got to stop that.
we like to have the stuff. Dad did that with guns. He just liked to. He liked the thrill of getting a new gun. And he was never a new gun. It was always some guy knew some guy.
Yeah.
And it was, now, if it didn't have serial numbers, he was in a special thrill.
Yeah.
Ghost
guns.
Yeah. And so like, So he had, just, I don't know. I don't have a count on what we have now. I'm not a huge gun guy. I have what I like for hunting, but I don't like go out and shoot.
Yeah.
You know, I wish I did. And I may after after the kids are gone. Yeah. And we're really close to kind of that empty nest kind of vibe where hobbies can
start to make their way back in. Yeah.
But whatever. But what I did do, and what I'd always asked Dad to do, is, Dad, why don't you take and get rid of some of these guns that it was a 22 or a 223 or just some weird, and it was like, well, it was just, maybe we have it. Predominantly, he had this thing for 22, so he had duplicate weapons.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. But then I ran him past a couple of different gun guys, and they're like, these aren't anything special.
Interesting. So even they didn't have a whole lot of value.
No, it's just like, everyone needs one. Okay. Yeah. We had 18.
Yeah.
Or have one for each of your kids so you can say, here, let's go out and target practice, whatever.
Yeah.
No. Okay. We just had too many of them. So what I wanted him to do, and what we finally did a few months after he passed away, is I started consolidating those things. I took all those weapons, okay, gave them to a guy, and he has connections of different pawn shops, different private buyers and whatnot. Made it all go away and handed me a wad of cash. I took that exact cash, not put it in the bank and let it sit, because it was important to me, because it was Dad's stuff, and I didn't, I wanted to respect and honor his stuff, so it's kind of like that. So, all right, we have converted this into cash now. All right.
Now what are we going to do with it?
Well, the whole thing was to go purchase a family heirloom piece.
Yeah.
I didn't want a Case Queen, but I wanted, hey, this is our nice shotgun that Grandpappy bought, that kind of thing, because I've always liked that vibe.
Yeah.
And my grandpa, he was like, I meant to buy one of those and never did, kind of thing. And then so then the onus was on my dad to do that, and he was like, but look how many I have. Like, dude, I don't care. What? So I got rid of the mini and consolidated them into one.
Yeah.
And I had enough left over that I added a case with it, a real nice leather case. And so I have this Beretta Silver Pigeon 3. And
I don't know shotguns well.
Well, for anyone that knows it, but it's not. I mean, it's not like, oh my gosh, but it's really nice.
Yeah.
It's
cool.
It's an over under, breaks down, sits in the case so man, and it's so pretty, but it's not so pretty or so valuable that I can't use it. Yeah. And it gets taken out once a year to dove hunt.
Yeah.
In a place where there are no doves. So I think it fired 3 shots this year.
This just cracks me up.
Anyway, but that's fine. It will get used. There's plans coming for it. So
yeah,
but we have it now.
Yeah.
Now we have an heirloom piece.
I think there's something about that consolidation.
Yeah,
that's a good point. Like I've done that before, where I've taken a bunch of stuff and just kind of consolidated it into one thing that's kind of nicer.
Yeah,
that lasts. So yeah, yep.
Yeah, and Banks and Ev will get to fight over it.
And,
and see, who has it. And probably Banks will wind up with it because Ev doesn't care anything about them. Banks was with me when we bought it. That was real important, cool. Important thing. So,
that's cool.
Well, what's next on the old outline there?
So, I just wanted one talk about one more thing on this, and then we can land the plane. But so I had a
RC or actual
whatever
wind up the tailpipe
works.
Jet.
Oh, jeez.
What's up, tailpipe? Sorry.
Anyways, there was a period of time in my life where cars were an idol.
Yeah.
No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And
I'm not judging you for it.
It was when I upgraded to captain. I think I've told this story before, but upgraded to captain at the airline I was working for, and right around that time I had gotten married. And I told myself before that I was going to buy my dream car at that point, which was a certain generation of BMW M3.
Yeah.
So, and I bought one. My wife, I believe, said, just go buy the damn car.
Well, yeah,
that story.
This. Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so that was not good. But that started me down a path, really, of sort of idolatry of things.
Yeah.
And so
it's very easy to get into and not
had
realize
that car, loved that car, then sold that car, ordered the new M3 was coming out. I made the mistake of pushing my wife to go order that car. Our car payment would have been more than our house payment, and we didn't have a garage for this, what would have been a $75,000 car. Dumb.
Which is almost seems like it's the average.
Which back then was a lot of money for a car. Yeah, back then was nuts money. Now people are paying that for like a quarter ton pickup. Yeah, like it's like whatever. But anyways, so
you can't get a new 3/4 ton for $75,000.
The Spirit of God got a hold of me, fortunately, and we canceled that order. But then I went back down that trail of, well, I've got to have a sports car.
Absolutely,
I have to. Right. And so I bought a 1999 M3, which was the generation before the one I owned, and proceeded to. I think when that car was finished, when I sold that car, the engine alone, we built the engine, put a turbo on it, just this whole journey. The engine alone had the internals, just the parts were $15,000.
You little Vin Diesel Fast and the Furious, you.
It was an ungodly amount of money we put into that car, and a lot of that was done on credit cards and then paid off. So it was like, yeah. And Kim, to her credit, supported I didn't really give her the option, to be honest.
She was patient.
She was patient. That's good, yeah. But that car tied so deeply into my identity that this is when I look back and I think one of the indicators, when you have something or some things that your friends who know you well come up to you and the first thing out of their mouth is ask you, hey, how's the car doing?
Yeah.
It's not, hey, how are your kids? Because we had Wilson at this point.
Yeah.
How's your wife? How's your marriage? It's, hey, how's the car doing? Or, hey,
that's who they know you
how's
as.
the gun collection?
Yeah.
Would you get any latest guns? Like when you start seeing that and hearing that from your friends, I think that is not even a yellow light. At that point, it's probably a red light that you are tying your identity into things.
Yeah.
It needs to, so you need to make a correction.
Right.
So that's kind of like just the warning that I would issue is the car was fun and we did have good memories.
Yeah.
But
just make sure that it's a healthy process.
Right. And
if you're having to justify, then be careful.
Yeah, and I don't, to this day, I think if you asked my wife and she was honest, I don't think that she would say it was just a bump in the road of our marriage. I think she would say that was like traumatic. Mm-hmm. There was source of like very difficult things that happened as a result of that hobby.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I know that's for sure. For the longest time I wanted a boat. A ski boat. That's what I wanted to do with the family.
Talk about money.
Right. Well, there's not a lot left to talk about. So, to be honest with you. But, we have that and it's paid for and we enjoyed it. But this summer, we used it a lot less than we did last summer. Now, last summer we were out every weekend. So it really didn't take much to not use it as much as we did last summer. And to
be honest, the boat that Ben has is not what I like. Your boat is reasonable.
Yeah, I have less in my bote than you did in the engine.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
let's be honest here.
I don't have one of these big.
I think ski boat, and I'm like nautique. Or no.
So the deal was, if we get this boat, and then if we want to upgrade because we're using it so much or whatnot, then that's on the table.
Right.
All right. Well, we could upgrade, but this boat, though it's older, it had 132 hours when we got it, and it had been well kept. So all I've done is do maintenance stuff and keep it going. I hadn't had to do a lot of repair. Mm-hmm. It's 18 years old, but and we've had it for 5 years, coming up on 5 years, 4.5 years now. So anyway, but the deal is if we hit a summer where we don't use it, then it's got to go. Because then we're just letting something sit there.
Right.
It's a depreciating asset as it is, but if we're not getting any enjoyment from it, Yeah. And so we need to be cognizant of what we're doing. We're either consciously holding on to it or consciously letting go of it and acknowledging the season that it is.
Right.
But not living, we used to do this and I hope that we will again. And some of that's okay. Mm-hmm. Like with the planes. You're thin in the herd.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Wilson is a little bit older. You've got a lot longer time to empty nesting than I do, but who knows? Wilson, when he is recruited by Harvard or MIT or whatever it is. Maybe Steven's like, I'd really like to fly RC.
They both have expressed interest, but it's just time. It just takes time.
So
yeah,
you don't know. Yeah. And so that could, still be a thing. But if there's no one in the house, the kids aren't into, because but just how life works, and we're not using that ski boat anymore.
Right.
I'm going to sell it. Now I am going to sell it and buy a bass boat because I still want to go out on the weekends.
That's right.
It's just not, I'm here in my ski boat floating around, and that's fun too.
Yeah.
But I love to fish, and that was what I grew up doing with Dad. So that, I just kind of go back to my roots on that deal.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah. I think that's, converting things over to actually useful things and stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah. We can't, if this stuff's tied into our identity, if it's like, well, I'm a boat guy.
Yeah.
Or I'm the guy with the ski boat, or I'm the guy with the fast car. It's like, man, that is a dark, dark hole to fall into.
Dad, when he sold his boat finally, and he had not used it for a couple of years, and it was his last boat. He's like, I've always been a boat guy. And he was saddened, and I get it. And it was part of the aging of life and different things. But I realized, I'm like, I don't ever want to do that.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that sad. Now, over stuff. Now I'll tell you who can buy something, use it for 4 months, and then get rid of it. Doug.
Yeah.
Okay. That guy. I
enjoy it.
I love it about him.
Yeah.
Okay. It doesn't matter if he's had. I cannot tell you how many cars he's had, and some of them were his daily drivers, and then some. It was just like, oh, I found this good deal. He gets it, puts a touch into it. He has a real knack for it.
Yeah.
And then flips it.
Yeah.
And then does well with it. And then he had a Honda Goldwing for a little while.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
he had it. I don't know that he had the thing for 6 months.
Yeah,
and then it was gone. It was something else.
That's awesome.
So anyway,
cool.
Well,
I think we're good. Yeah.
All right.
On to the next one. So,
thank you for joining us. As always, leave your comments, whether you like us or don't like us. Tell us. We want to hear it. Trust us. We'll see you here next time on The Regular Dad.
See you then.
Shouldn't have to be this hard.